Okay. Joe Biden has made an Iran deal. He's the president. He's doing things as he should be. And Republicans are absolutely furious with the typical and predictable talking points you would expect. The Associated Press reports the U.S. moves to advance a prisoner swap deal with Iran and releases $6 billion in frozen funds. The report explains the Biden administration has cleared the way for the release of 5 American citizens detained in Iran by issuing a blanket waiver for international banks to transfer $6 billion in frozen Iranian money from South Korea to Qatar without fear of U.S. sanctions. So the trade is the U.S. gets 5 American citizens back from Iran who have been detained. $6 billion in frozen Iranian money is released from South Korea to Qatar without sanctions. Secretary of State Antony Blinken signed off on the sanctions waivers late last week. The outlines of the deal were previously announced. The waiver was expected. This is the first time the administration said it was releasing 5 Iranian prisoners who have not yet been named. The waiver drew criticism of President Joe Biden from Republicans and others who say this is going to help the Iranian economy at a time when Iran poses a growing threat to U.S. troops and Mideast allies. Republicans hate it because Biden did it. Republican Chuck Grassley going to Twitter. It's now called X. So instead of tweets, I guess we're now calling them excretions. It's sort of, I can't think of anything else to call them. Senator Chuck Grassley with an excretion on X, quote, "It's ridiculous for U.S. to be blackmailed into paying $6 billion for hostages, which will help indirectly finance the number one foreign policy of Iran, terrorism. Last time it was $1.7 billion traded for hostages. Next time it will probably be $10 billion. The price keeps going up and up." Republican Senator Tom Cotton weighing in on X with an excretion of his own, saying, quote, "First Joe Biden used 9/11 as an excuse to flee Afghanistan. Now he desecrates this day by paying ransom to the world's worst state sponsor of terrorism. Shameful." So listen, you can disagree or have differing opinions about whether this deal made sense. So let's talk about the pros and cons of striking such a deal. The pros of this deal are obviously, if you have humanitarian concerns about American citizens detained in Iran, not a place known for particularly hospitable conditions or a functional justice system, particularly as it relates to American citizens, getting American detainees released is an issue of human rights, period. And that is a good thing. Diplomacy over war. The signal that we can engage diplomatically with Iran to achieve something we want rather than military conflict is arguably a positive thing. Reducing sanctions on Iran reduces the harms caused by those sanctions, which is arguably good for Iranian civilians, at least to some degree. Now, remember, I'm only giving you the pros now. We'll look at the cons in a moment. And then after Donald Trump really debased the United States as a negotiating partner, remember, Obama did the Iran deal. As far as we knew, Iran was abiding by the Iran deal. And Trump just came in and bailed on the Iran deal. That hurts our credibility when it comes to being a treaty partner, a negotiating partner. The fact that there was a successful negotiation arguably might help to rebuild some trust after Trump simply said, we're out of the deal. I don't like the deal, even though Iran, as far as you knew, was sticking to it. So those are the pros of such a deal. Now, on the other side, it is true that the perception of paying a ransom could encourage future detentions in order to get concessions and further ransoms from the United States. It is arguably true that if Iran sees, hey, by detaining American citizens, we ultimately get goodies, whether it's unfrozen assets or whatever the case may be, it's arguably an incentive to just find American citizens to detain in order to get further deals. On the counterpoint of some of the $6 billion could improve circumstances for civilians in Iran, you could also make the argument that the $6 billion will be an influx into this regime, which does so many things that we criticize. You could be supporting the Iranian regime by releasing sanction-free the $6 billion. You could indirectly signal to Iran, hey, you did this, now you get money, and then the economic boost from the $6 billion could actually be used to fund anti-American activities. all of these potential negatives are completely valid and worth considering. The problem is that Republicans reflexively say it's bad, and it's basically bad because Biden did it. Had Trump or another Republican been able to get the exact same deal, they would be saying this is a good thing. We are now bringing 5 American citizens home who have been held unfairly by this authoritarian regime. These right-wingers aren't going to analyze or evaluate this in any serious way. There are pros to such a deal. There are potential cons to such a deal. Now the question will be what comes next when it comes to Iran, the potential broader reinstallation of an Iran deal, and the bigger picture foreign policy implications. I'm open to hearing from you. Did this deal make sense or did it not? It can't be denied that while Republicans are looking at how can we impeach Biden, how can we install a dictator in 2024, Joe Biden is being the president and he is getting things done.